On this channel, we do some pretty dumb stuff. In fact, we've run VR on a ton of different things in the past. We've run VR on a phone, we've run VR on the tablet, and I'd love to run VR on a fridge. However, what we're doing today is probably our dumbest one yet. We're running VR on a watch. A ton of you might be wondering, how on earth is this possible? Well, despite appearances, this is a smartwatch. It's the Ticwatch Pro 3, and under the hood, it's basically an Android phone. What you might not know about Wear OS watches is the fact that they basically run full Android. It's just incredibly cut down, but nowadays, they even have the Play Store. They have Wi-Fi, they have Bluetooth, they have all the accelerometers and sensors needed in order to be a VR headset. So why not make it a VR headset? I don't see why that would possibly be a bad idea. And to take things a little step further, we're gonna make it a 6-DoF Steam VR headset with controllers, because happy April Fools, everyone. But we're actually doing it. So we've got the watch, but what now? Even though this thing does run Android and has a Play Store, that Play Store is severely limited, and there's absolutely 0% chance it's going to show me any apps to do with virtual reality. Well, worry not, because we can jump right into the settings and enable developer mode. So that's exactly what I did. I jumped into the settings, clicked on build number 7 times, and enabled developer mode on the watch. This then allowed me to enable wireless debugging, as, we're not enabling USB debugging on this thing, it doesn't have a USB connection. After doing that, I used my PC to connect to it over Wi-Fi and ADB, and then installed multiple different apps for streaming SteamVR to an Android phone. And this was a massive pain. For some reason, it turns out that not every streaming app will actually work on a watch. Wow. However, I did eventually find one that would. Ivory, the guys that are currently trying to get the PSVR 2 working on PC, have an app that also does the same with Android, and it works on a watch. Even better, it has a mono view, allowing me to remove the second half of the eyeballs on the watch and create a monoscopic view. This all sounds great on paper. However, launching the app, we instantly needed to change a few settings. It wasn't perfect right out of the box, but after a while, we did get it to a point that I would call rather playable. The interesting thing here is even though I enabled mono on the watch itself, we did only get half a screen displaying, but I called this good enough and said that it will work anyway. So that's how we continued. But then came the other problem. How on earth are we gonna add 6-DoF to a watch? Well, this is where I had to rewatch my own video on how to use tundra trackers in order to give the Quest lighthouse tracking. I used that exact same method and applied it to the watch, and now we have 6-DoF tracking on a smartwatch. Mind you, very good 6-DoF tracking as well. This will also allow us to connect index controllers to it, so we have all our criteria met, except for one. How on earth are we going to mount this to our head? Let me introduce you to the Mysticle VR1. This device will shortly be going on sale on Indiegogo for $2,999. I think it's a very fair price. As you can tell, the device is very versatile, supports a variety of different devices, including the Quest 2 VR cover, the Quest 2 head strap, tundra trackers, and much more. It's also incredibly durable, and with our very customizable mounting system, you can put basically anything onto it. We also support the highest end technologies like color pass-through, and our weight is one of the lightest on the market. But you might be wondering to yourself, what are the specifications of such an incredible device? Well, this is where it gets even better. They are whatever you want them to be. If you want to use your imagination, that's fine. Put on the device and close your eyes. You want to use your fridge? That's also perfectly fine. We've got more duct tape. But if you actually want to play proper VR inside this device, you can use a watch, which is exactly what we will be doing. So let's jump right in and see how terrible this is going to be. So, first thing we jumped into is Beat Saber. And let me tell you, this hurt. This hurt a lot. Like, it physically hurts your eyeballs. Maybe it's the fact that I'm only seeing one display, or maybe it's the fact that the image was heavily physically compressed. Like, it wasn't scaled correctly. Or maybe it's the fact that I was only seeing half the screen. I don't know. All of those things seem to have added up. The fact that the screen was running in mono mode and didn't exactly line up with the tundra tracker definitely didn't help either, as everything was completely misaligned to the right, making every single movement seem just slightly off. Because it definitely wasn't the comfort of the Mysticle VR1. But either way, I did manage to play Beat Saber. I even managed to beat a song on Expert. However, this wasn't where my issues stopped, as Ivory does have this thing where if you don't pay for the software, it reduces the saturation after a while, and because this was running on a watch and it's not on the Google Play Store, I couldn't pay for the software. But we weren't gonna let the black and white image stop us. Right after Beat Saber, we jumped into the forest, and for some weird reason, it was terrifying. I mean, everything was completely black and white. I couldn't tell whether it was daytime or nighttime, but I'm fairly sure it was nighttime. And actually playing it with that massively compressed image was terrifying. Like, I did not know what was happening. My movements were definitely still there, but as you can tell by the image you're seeing, stuff just wasn't right. But we did manage to play, we built a wall, and we managed to save. I even managed to cut down a tree and get some food, which is a pretty big achievement when your screen looks like this, which, according to me, is a big success. Next, we jumped into a little bit of Job Simulator, and this game is very simple to run. It's got a nice, simple art style, so things were very easy to make out, even though the resolution was incredibly low. This, of course, doesn't change the fact that I could still only see half the screen, and after a while it did become black and white, which of course ruins the gameplay quite a bit. But 6 Degrees of Freedom was working, and I could use the controllers. So the mission of running full 6DoF Steam VR on a watch has been rather successful. Not that I would recommend this to anyone, but it is a very interesting, funny little experiment, especially for a day like today. But I must say, playing something nice and simple like Job Simulator on this honestly wasn't too bad. This didn't even cause as much motion sickness for me as the Forest or Beat Saber did, even though the image was still very compressed, squished, and probably turned upside down as well. But yeah, overall, this was probably the most pleasant title to play on the watch. However, after this, my eyes were hurting enough, and this is where I decided to end it. It was a massive success, and I was more than happy with myself. That, and I had created a fantastic device while I was at it. Yeah, so that had to end very prematurely. I would have loved to try more games on this. However, playing VR with only one eye being able to see a mono image hurts a lot. Seriously, surprisingly, this actually hurt my eyes, so I didn't want to stay in it for too long. But it did actually work. Now, the image was very physically compressed and looked really funny, but it worked, and I was able to play Beat Saber, and we had 6DoF, and we had everything. And I see that as a pretty big success. I know, I ruined the point of an April Fool's Day joke, as I actually made it work. But trust me, this was much better than us trying to get VR working on a toaster. Either way, thank you so much to everyone inside the Discord who said that we should run VR on a watch for April Fools, as I asked you guys what we should run VR on for April Fools. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope that nobody pranks you too hard. If you liked it, please do leave a like. If you disliked it, I guess this button works too, but let me know why down below. Thank you so much to all the Patreons supporting this channel. You guys are helping me out a ton, and I cannot explain to you enough how much that means to me. Those names are going off to my right now, and as usual, if you guys want me to provide about future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button with your forehead, dig my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.